Welcome dear students to today's English lesson. I hope you have studied our last week lesson. Today we have Unit 1, When I Was a Child, Section 1, Through a Colored Glass. In this unit, R.K. Lakshman talks about his childhood, his brother R.K. Narayan, and his path towards becoming a celebrated cartoonist and illustrator. Rasipuram Krishnaswamy Iyer Lakshman, that was his full name. He was born in the year 1921 and died in the year 2015. He was an Indian cartoonist, illustrator and humorist. He is best known for his creation, The Common Man, and for his daily cartoon strip, You Said It, in the Times of India newspaper, which started in 1951. R.K. Lakshman started his career as a part-time cartoonist, working mostly for local newspapers and magazines. While as a college student, he illustrated his older brother R.K. Narayan's stories in the Hindu. His first full-time job was as a political cartoonist for the Free Press Journal in Mumbai. Later, he joined the Times of India and became famous for the Common Man character, which turned out to be the turning point in Lakshman's life. R.K. Lakshman was born in Mysore in 1921 in an Iyer family. His father was a headmaster and Lakshman was the youngest of 8 children, 6 sons and 2 daughters. His elder brother is novelist R.K. Narayan. Lakshman was known as Pied Piper of Delhi.
In our old house in Mysore, there was a window. It had a glass pane divided into many parts. Each part had a different color. One day, the pane broke. Bits of colored glass tinkled down. I looked at every color, one after another. Suddenly, I happened to see through the glass, and I saw a new world. It was strange, weird, frightening. Everybody and everything looked blue. The blue gardener dug the blue earth. Nearby stood a blue cow swishing its blue tail. Why, the sun had turned blue in the sky. Everything was spooky and still. I couldn't bear it anymore. Quickly, I raised the green glass piece. Thank God, things became cheerful again. The same gardener was shoveling away with a bucket by his side. The cow turned friendly, but I had to try out the red piece. It struck terror into my heart. The cow was ready to attack me. The dog bared its teeth, and the gardener was digging up a skeleton under the neem tree. Red clouds gathered in a bloody sky. The world was a scene of war. Sweating and trembling, I switched back to green. At once, things calmed down. It was a cool, pleasant day, out in the garden at home where the breeze blew softly. Father and mother were out. I was free to play the whole evening. As I remember it, this was my first communication with my surroundings. I loved looking through the broken glass pieces, feeling different with each color. Perhaps this was an early sign of my interest in visual things, in drawing and painting that were to be my life. When did I start drawing? Maybe at the age of 3. I started on the wall, of course, like any normal child. Parents were more tolerant in those days. No one stopped my scribbling on the wall. I drew with bits of burnt wood that I got from the hot water stove in the backyard. What did I draw? Oh, the usual things. Trees, houses, the sun behind the hill. I was not at all a good student in the classroom. The one time I got a pat on the back from the teacher was for one of my drawings. We were all asked to draw a leaf. Each child scratched his head and wondered what a leaf looked like. One drew a banana leaf which became too big for the slate. Another drew a speck that couldn't be seen. Some just managed blobs. When the teacher came to me, he asked, "Did you draw this by yourself?" I hesitated. Had I done wrong? I nodded dumbly. And do you know, the teacher actually broke into a smile. He said I had done a very good job. He saw great possibilities in that leaf I drew so long ago on a hot afternoon sitting in the dull classroom. I had seen that leaf on the peepal tree which I passed each day on my way to school. Generally, people take everything for granted. They hardly see anything around them, but I had a keen eye. I observed everything and had a gift for recalling details. This is essential for every cartoonist and illustrator. As far back as I can remember, the crow attracted me because it was so alive on the landscape. In our garden, it stood out black against the green trees, blue sky, red earth, and the yellow wall. Other birds are shy and try to hide themselves, but the crow is very clever. It can look after itself very well. I have never grown out of this childhood fascination for the crow. I have painted hundreds of crows singly and in groups from near and far, and in many moods. Sometimes I put crows into my cartoons. My crow paintings have gone to many countries. One of them hangs in faraway Iceland now. I was about 9 or 10 when I decided to be an artist. I would cycle for 10 miles around our home to find interesting landscapes to paint. Mysore was a good place for this, full of trees, streams, hills, and old ruins. I also learnt a lot by looking at illustrations in foreign magazines. The cartoons were a special attraction. I began to draw cartoons and found the local papers willing to publish them. I must have done well, because I was asked to draw posters too for the defense program and for adult education. I earned my pocket money and never had to trouble my parents for it. When Narayan's stories began to get published in the Hindu Madras, he asked me to illustrate them. I knew exactly what he wanted and whom he had in mind for his characters. Didn't we belong to the same place? Hadn't I spent hours in every spot around us, including the busy market square? As I drew hundreds of pictures, I picked up the techniques quite naturally. Trial and error taught me to use brush and paint and ink. Others besides Narayan began to ask me to illustrate their stories for them. After this, I tried getting a job as a cartoonist in New Delhi. The Hindustan Times told me I was too young to be a newspaper cartoonist. I was more successful in Bombay. I got work in the Blitz and the Free Press Journal. Besides cartoons, I did comic strips telling the stories of Tantri the magician and other heroes. Very soon, I made a name for myself and joined a big English newspaper, The Times of India. For 47 years, I have been drawing cartoons for its front page. A stamp was brought out to celebrate the 150th year of this newspaper, and the picture on it was one of my cartoons. Yes, I have worked very hard and long, but I have not forgotten that you can see the world through pieces of colored glass. Nor have I lost my love for those noisy black birds which are always around us, managing to survive. I continue to paint crows with as much enjoyment as I did on those long days of carefree childhood, when each day was exciting and every hour brought adventure.
Dear students, I hope you have followed the passage carefully. Now, we have few new words and their meanings to understand. Swishing, moving quickly through the air in a way that made a soft sound. Spooky, strange and frightening. Shoveling away, lifting and moving the earth with a shovel. Bared its teeth, showed the teeth in an angry and threatening way. Visual things, things that you can see. Speck, a very small spot. Blobs, drawings that did not look like leaves at all. A keen eye, good at noticing things. Techniques, ways of drawing pictures. Trial and error, the process of solving a problem by trying various methods until you find a method that is successful. Dear students, you have to read this passage very carefully for a number of times. You have to write the notes I sent to you in your notebooks. Kindly make use of the materials that I provide you in Google Classroom. Those who can join for online Google Meet class, please do join with me. Until we meet next week, take care. Thank you.